when you want beachy waves, but you get tsunami waves instead. Hey everybody, welcome to Like Behind the Cover. I'm Taylor and today we're talking about the best summer reads. So when I think of summer reads, I think of contemporary, probably on a beach somewhere, romance, light, funny. I don't want something to be super dark for the most part. I really just want to be excited and smiling.
Oh, you're smiling.
That's my idea of what a good summer read is. So, knowing that, I've compiled this list based on that. Yes, I do think contemporaries are what most people think when talking about summer reads. I agree with that. That's why I went out of my way to try to compile a list that has a lot of lovey contemporaries, but also has other things thrown in there too. So let's get started. Duke, can you move? That's where I stand.
Move, I'm gay.
This was fun. Okay, so I have two parts of my list. The first part is books that I've read and absolutely recommend for summer. And the second part is books that I haven't read but plan to read on my own this summer and think would fit in a lot of summery reads. My first suggestion is any Sarah Dessen book, who, in my opinion, is one of the queens of contemporary YA. She writes very cute and sweet books. Some of them have deeper elements, so if you're not looking for that at all, I definitely go and look through her catalog and see what suits you best. I would recommend what's the book called? Oh my god. Okay. I would recommend Along for the Ride, which is a very romance with some friendship kind of themes in a beachy town. And then I would also recommend Keeping the Moon, which is very sweet, has romance too, but I would say it's like mainly a friendship book, which I also love for the summer. I don't know about you guys, but like when I think of summer style stuff, I think of summer anime, which is very much sports anime, friendship, working as a team, that kind of stuff. So I think that maybe comes over into my list here. So my next suggestion is Becky Albertalli. Here are two books that I recommend. This one was co-authored by Adam Silvera. They're both super good. Most people have read Simon. Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda is super sweet and like a gay coming of age book that I would say is like happy. Like it's not happy the whole time. For those of you who don't know, and I assume most of you do, but this is a book about Simon who is coming to terms with his sexual identity and is talking to somebody online when somebody else in his school finds out and starts blackmailing him and saying that he will out him to other people. So he's got a lot going on in this. It's super quick. How many pages is it? It's just over 300 pages, so it's a super quick read, and it's just so good. What If It's Us, on the other hand, is also really sweet, but in a very different way, and it is not as light in tone as her other book, and I think her other books in general, but Adam Silvera being part of this, I think can explain why. This book is about two boys who randomly meet, I think in a post office, and don't get each other's numbers or anything, but have run into each other again and are going to try to date, but they're very awkward about it. It's not going super well. It's a nice book in that I think it explores a different part of romance that most contemporaries don't explore, and it's very sweet, and I love the characters. And they talk about Hamilton. What else do I have to say? My next recommendation is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I think that's how you pronounce her name. McQuiston? This book is about the first son, so the son of the United States of America, and the Prince of Britain having kind of a rivalry at the start and then having something more as it goes along. Now, this is another book that I would say is kind of coming of age. These are older. This is an adult book. So it's not coming of age in the traditional sense. I think it's more of that idea of finding yourself, where you fit into your family, where you fit into the world, and adding that queer aspect to it that makes it all more difficult. So this is a wonderful book. I read it only recently, but it made me smile. My next suggestion is the Gallagher Girls series by Ali Carter, but specifically the first book. This first book is about a girl who goes to a spy school and is very dedicated to that, and they are not allowed to have tons of interaction with the town that lives close by. However, the main character kind of falls for a regular kid in the town. As this series goes on, it gets a lot more spy-y, but this first one is kind of a romance seen through the lens of spy school, and it's super, super cool. So it's not the traditional contemporary read because obviously there's extra aspects, but that's what I love about it. So my next book is Lumberjanes, which is perfect for all you graphic novel fans, created by Shannon Waters, Grace Ellis, Brooklyn A. Allen, and Noelle Stevenson. So this book is about 5 best friends living in a cabin together for the summer at a summer camp when supernatural things start to happen. It's very funny and sweet. I think that there's a queer character. I haven't read the whole series, so I can't speak for all of it, but it's a really quick and fun read, and it's not heavy at all. My next book is a book that, if you were like me, you saw the movie before seeing the book, and that's Ella Enchanted. Did I say seeing instead of reading? Ella Enchanted is such a fun book. If you've seen the movie and enjoyed it, you will enjoy the book, but the book is not like the movie. Or I should say, the movie is not like the book. It is very, very fun and interesting. It's a way of telling a fairy tale that I hadn't read before I'd read this, which is basically the end is kind of the fairy tale, and it all just leads up to it. So it's super, super good. So if you don't know, Ella Enchanted is a story about a girl named Ella who was given a gift by her fairy godmother to be obedient always. I don't want to give too much away for anybody who hasn't read it, because I think it's good to just read it as is. The next book I'm bringing up is actually a series, and that is the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. These books all take place in summer at a summer camp for demigods, which are half gods and half humans. I'm sure most of you have heard of these. If you haven't read them, you've probably seen the movie. The books are better. So each one of these is fun. It's very much about friendship. It talks about family dynamics, but it's very interesting. The Greek mythology parts are the best parts because the way Rick Riordan talks about Greek mythology and has inputted them into this series is so cool and interesting to me. For those of you who don't know, Percy Jackson and the Olympians is about a boy named Percy who struggles with some issues like dyslexia, etc., and ends up finding out that he's a demigod. If you've seen the movie, you know what god he is his parent, but in the book that was kind of a mystery, so I don't want to say who, just in case you haven't seen the movie by some miracle. And it's about him being blamed for something that he did not do, and then the rest of the series goes on and escalates from there. These are middle grades, which I think could turn some people off. That said, I didn't read them in the middle grade age. I read them in my teenagers, and they were just as good, so I wouldn't let that scare you away. Okay, so my first book in books that I haven't read, but I'm hoping to read for this summer and come across as very summery to me, is Summer Days and Summer Nights, which I think is probably the single most typical book that people recommend. If you don't know, this is an anthology written by many YA authors about short stories of summer. I haven't read it. I actually haven't read an anthology, so I'm really interested in doing so. The next book is Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. I don't know a ton about this book other than I think it takes place in Paris. It's a romance, and to me it sounds summery in those ways. Like, I don't know if it takes place in the summer, but to me those things are summery reads. I know that pretty much everybody in the world has already read this. I haven't read it yet. It takes a lot for me to read a contemporary, and I absolutely only read it when I'm in the mood for it, so I'm hoping that this one will be really good. My last book is Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. This book is about a girl who really relies on her best friend to get her to be more extroverted and actually do things, but suddenly her best friend is gone and has left her a list of things to do. The main character starts trying to follow the list to see if she can find her best friend or bring her best friend back. Like, I haven't read it yet, so I don't know exactly how it goes. To me, that sounds very intriguing, and I want to know more about it. Well, that's all the books that I have to recommend for you today. If you have any books that you think are quintessentially summer, please let me know down below. Please like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more book content. Thank you so much for watching.